All right, I think we are live. This is an impromptu. I'm not even sure that's how you say the word live. Impromptu. Impromptu. Is that right? Is that the right word? You know, when you say something so many times, it doesn't make any sense anymore. I think that's one of those words. All right, so I'm going to dive in. This is going to be 13 minutes. Okay. If you are over the age of 40 and you have been dealing with chronic low back pain, this is for you. I'm going to talk, I'm going to make three cases to why your age has nothing to do with your chronic low back pain. Okay. And I'm extrapolating this information from data, from research, science, if you're a science driven kind of person, and just overall experiences. Now, I don't go live often. So if you are watching live, put live in the comment section. If you're watching replay, comment replay. I used to do a lot of lives and I've stopped doing them just because I just put too much attention to my students that I work with and my weekly content. But I have a small window of opportunity time right now to talk about age, olderness, getting old, and then chronic low back pain. And if you are 40, you are older than 15, right? If you are 50, you're older than 30. So if you are over the age of 40, this is for you. Okay. I'm 38 and I put myself in this category because I'm knocking on 40's door, right? I'm knocking on the door. So here is why your age, do not hang your hat on your age being the reason why you are living with chronic low back pain. Before I start, I want to make sure you can hear me. So if you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat box. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and just jump in. But if I'm coming out audio wise okay, then please let me know so I don't sit here and talk and no one can actually hear me. All right, point number 1. I got some notes here so we don't have to sit here and hear me ramble a bunch of random stuff. I got some points I'm gonna follow here. So number 1, pain does not equal damage. This is especially true as you age. Okay. So people often assume that aging causes pain because of structural damage, like maybe disc degeneration. 17 years ago, I was diagnosed with degenerative discs in my spine above my ruptured disc. This also supports the idea of degeneration or arthritis. But numerous studies show that many age-related changes, disc herniations, bulges, stenosis, osteoarthritis, are just as common in people without pain, as in people walking, living, exercising, riding their bikes, hiking, wrestling with their grandkids or their kids, depending on how old you are. They're doing all these things without chronic pain, but they still have herniations, bulges, stenosis, osteoarthritis. Why is that? Well, a 2015 review in American Journal of Neuroradiology found that 60% of 50-year-olds have disc bulges, even with no symptoms. Now, there's lots of research out there. This is just one example, taking or extrapolating, another $4 word I probably couldn't spell, taking a group of older people, would be considered older people above 40, right? I don't think that's old, but you know what I'm saying. Aging people, and said, guess what? You have herniations, bulges, stenosis, arthritis. And they're like, oh, well, that's funny because I don't have any chronic back pain. That's what that basically is saying. Similarly, rotator cuff tears, knee degeneration, and spinal arthritis show up frequently in pain-free adults and increase with age. As we get older, things get worse. I tell people this all the time when I am kind of interviewing people to join my private coaching program that I have. I share my story a little bit, right? 17 years ago, ruptured L5S1 disc, degeneration. My spine today probably looks worse today than it did back then. And I don't live in chronic low back pain the way I lived in chronic back pain back then, right? I'm 38. Sure, if I plant too many trees or pull too many weeds over a 3-day span of time, my back might get sore. That's normal. That's normal pain. But I'm talking about chronic low back pain, right? You're laid up paying for it later after a workout, after time in the yard, after landscaping, after your job, after driving to work. Chronic low back pain. Okay. So structural changes, this is a point of point number one. Structural changes are normal with age, but they don't always equal pain. Your pain is often more about how your nervous system interprets those changes, not the changes themselves. Okay. If you're like, if that makes you think, either put the thinking emoji in the chat or put interesting in the chat. If you're still watching this and you think that's interesting, it sparked something in your brain, put interesting in the chat. Okay. So, point number two, chronic pain is more about sensitization than aging. Okay. So, research shows that chronic pain is less about the number of birthdays that you've had and more about how long your nervous system has been on high alert or it's been oversensitized. It's not age, but this oversensitization, I call this the internal pain alarm system. If you've been in pain for over a year, your nervous system becomes more and more and more and more involved in your chronic pain story. Okay. So, as in, you can have disc injuries, they can heal. And from a scientific or physiological perspective, there's no reason to have pain anymore, yet you still have pain for 10 years. That's like that alone was like mind blowing to me back then. Right. Because, but if you think about it logically, like it doesn't make sense. If you apply that idea that I can injure myself or I can have whatever problem, I can take my body through the process of healing, and then I would normally be out of pain by then. Let's say you break your arm, you fall off a horse and you break your arm. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt like crap, right? Then you're going to go to the doctor and you're going to get the cast on, and then they're going to splint it, and you're going to be in this cast. All your friends are going to sign it. They even do that anymore. All your friends are going to sign it, draw on it, smiley faces and stuff, right? Because that's what we do when we have casts. But after a while, I'm not sure what the time frame is. I don't do broken bones. But if, let's say it's 4 months, 6 months, what happens? The cast gets removed. And where's your arm at? Maybe a little bit skinny, kind of pasty, might smell funny, but it's healed. You're back to using it. You might, depending on how bad the fracture or break, or if it was a compound break or whatever it might be, you might have some PT to do, but essentially your arm's going to heal. I remember I rolled a go-kart on a missions trip. I was like, I don't know, like 12. And I rolled a go-kart, rolled it over and over and over and over in it, no seatbelt. And I remember I put my arm down. It was this arm, put my arm down, because I was trying to hold on to the steering wheel. As I was tumbling, trying to look cool, and I put my arm down gravel road, and the roll cage, as one of the rolls that it did, it went boom and just pinned my arm in between the ground and the roll cage of this thing. Oh my gosh, it was like road rash. I mean, it was just terrible. It was the worst pain ever, and I was on a farm for like 2 weeks. It was insane. Miserable, lots of pain, fractured my arm, got a cast on it, and I couldn't imagine still suffering from the pain today. Like, it just logically wouldn't make sense. So going back to the point, okay, if you give your body the opportunity to heal, guess what's going to happen? Your body's going to heal. If your arm is broken, you give your arm the environment it needs to heal, it will heal. Okay, so we got to remember that when it comes to the sensitization idea, this idea of like, okay, if I'm in pain for beyond the time of a normal healing, like there's a normal disc healing process of weeks and months, depending on how bad it is, whatever, but it's all healable. 93% of people with chronic low back pain, disc injuries, can heal without surgery. So if you're dealing with chronic low back pain for years, well, you wouldn't suffer from a paper cut pain for years, would you? No. You wouldn't suffer from a broken arm after it's been healed and casted for 10 years, would you? No, it's not logical. But we assume that, oh, our backs are just, they're so dynamic and they're so fragile and weak and they're so susceptible to injury that we buy into this idea, and then our central nervous system becomes overly sensitive and guarded and protected, which is a real thing. Okay. I'm gonna move on. Okay. Thanks for tuning in from Saudi Arabia. That's awesome. Yeah, let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Looks like everyone, I don't know. Yeah, where's everyone tuning in from? Let me know. Drop in the comments. So the International Association for the Study of Pain defines chronic pain as a dysfunction of the, guess what? Internal pain alarm system. That's what I call it. The internal pain alarm system. Not a symptom of age or damage, right? Which means I have to come to the realization that because I have degenerative discs, because I have a ruptured L5S1 disc, I have less space between my vertebrae. That does not mean that I should be living every day with chronic low back pain. But guess what I did for a decade? I believe that to be true. And guess what I did for almost 10 years? Protect, guard, create stiffness in my low back, create fear, anxiety, and worry, and more pain, which led to more like neurological driven issues. Trust me, I've had conversations with PTs, and I've explained my situation to them when I was in like really in it. And they said I had the most complicated chronic back pain case because I knew too much. I had tried too much, and there was nothing else that they could give me that would make sense, from surgery to medication to whatever. Nothing would have worked. It had all been done before. So I know complicated, and I know frustration, and I know chronic pain. Okay, because I've lived it. Studies in pain journals show that pain sensitivity is influenced more by emotional, cognitive, and neurological factors than age-related tissue wear. Okay, so your pain isn't because you're getting older. It's not necessarily true. You have an internal pain alarm system that is on high alert. And until you recognize and understand that, you will live in chronic pain forever, right? Because you're never addressing the true reason of your pain to begin with. Last point, okay? Older adults can still rewire their pain. The ability to do this, teach your body safety, teach your brain safety, deadlift again, squat again, run again, triathlon again, whatever you want to do again. All these things are capable of doing it despite your age. Okay. I'm not sure if you've seen some of these reels or content around elderly people, deadlifting. And I mean, when I say elderly, maybe like 70 plus, 65 plus, deadlifting in the gym. They're doing crazy stuff in the gym, trying to build bone density. And there is more medical model structured approaches to pain that are leading to strength movement than ever before, right? My dad's a PTA, and before he retired, we were talking about all the time how you see more squat racks and dumbbells and kettlebells and barbells in PT clinics than you ever did before. I grew up in a physical therapy clinic. I know what they used to look like. They had arm bikes. They had hot wax for joints. They had Bosu balls and foam rollers and big stretching mats. That's really all that PT clinics had in them back in the day that I can remember. Now, if you go into a PT clinic, there's more. But unfortunately, PT, physical therapy, they're still applying the same old stuff to chronic back pain. Let's stretch it. Let's strengthen your core. But again, none of those things, exercise, stretching, none of that stuff is actually fixing the root issue, fixing the core issue that you're dealing with. And if you've been in chronic low back pain, odds are it's a central nervous system. It's a pain system response. Okay. Where was I at? Last point. So your brain and nervous system are capable of change throughout your entire life. That means older adults can absolutely desensitize their pain system, retrain movement patterns, and rebuild confidence in your body. And when I say older, even if you're 40, 38, right? Doesn't matter. I'm just speaking to older adults, but if you have been living with chronic low back pain, you can retrain this. Research in neuroplasticity in older adults, or the frontiers of aging neuroscience, shows that cognitive and physical training can lead to functional changes in the brain, even in people over 70, which basically means the right exercise, the right types of movement, the right types of retraining and desensitizing this internal pain alarm system, the more you can become pain-free, even as you age. Okay. So the point here is you're not too old to heal. B, stop blaming your chronic low back pain on your age. Even if you have some herniations, even if you have bulges, even if you have stenosis, arthritis, you can definitely be out of pain. And I want to make an announcement, an offer to you that is, I've never done this before, and I've been talking about it through my content. I got a video coming out on Thursday that will give you some really cool insight into a very specific movement that's really good for low back tension and tightness and pain. But I am hosting, starting on Monday, the 28th, 29th, and 30th, a 3-day live back pain reset challenge. This challenge is designed to take you from the stretches, the injections, the physical therapy appointments, the MRIs, the doctor visits, all the dead end treatments that you've been doing. I literally just got off a call with somebody right here that we have a laundry list of things that they've done over the past 5 years of getting relief: massage, chiropractor, yoga, physiotherapy, quad stretches, side stretches, hamstring stretches, child's pose, cobra pose, downward dog, core training. Done all these things for years and still in pain. What I want to teach you is how to hit reset on your body, on this pain system that is on high alert, over guarded. Okay. In the comment section here, really quick, and if anyone has any questions, I'll answer them really quick. But I'm going to put a link to this challenge, okay? And this is open to anybody. Anybody can come. I'm going to teach you how to go from all the treatments, all the random things that you've been doing, and to manage your pain, and teach you how to hit reset on your back, on your body, and give your back an environment where it has no other choice but to finally heal. I call it my back pain reset challenge. 3-day live event. It's nothing but value. I'm teaching you things that I've never talked about on YouTube because it requires too much time, effort, and energy, right? And if you want to come and learn this stuff that I only teach my one-on-one students, grab a seat to the 3-day challenge. It kicks off this Monday. You can go to fitnessforbackpain.com/pain reset. Okay. There's a link in the description or in the chat right now. You can go there, reserve your seat. Seats will be limited to a number. I'm still deciding on how many people I can fit in this room and actually do Q&As, because this challenge that I'm doing, each ticket has all access. Future challenges that I do will not be that way. You'll have to reserve an all access pass or a general admission pass. This challenge, for this challenge only, I'm doing all access, which means your ticket comes with not just the 3 days of education, knowledge, homework, action steps, deep dive into applicable things to hit reset on your chronic back pain relief strategy, put you on the right path, but I'm also hosting a daily live Q&A for a whole hour before each session. And your ticket gets a seat in that live Q&A. Me, you answering questions, digging into where you're at. Invitations open to you. Okay. So you can get it there, fitnessforbackpain.com/pain reset. Really quick. Watching from Saudi Arabia, disc bulging, haven't exercised in a long time. Got to get back to exercise. You can totally do that. I have L4L5S1, disectomy in 2021. I'm dealing with a lot of pain. What do I refuse? A fusion? Oh man, what I recommend, don't get a fusion unless you absolutely need to. And if you absolutely need to, you won't be able to feel your legs. You've lost feeling in your hips, your groin, your You can't control your bowels. That is where you need to have surgical or surgery type of situation. Consult with your physician. I'm not a doctor. Consult with them. If you just had chronic low back pain and you've had it for years and you have L4, L5, or S1, I'm assuming maybe disc bulge or herniation, you do not need a fusion. You need a better strategy. You're applying the symptom treatment, I call it the symptom treatment hamster wheel. And it's what 99.8% of all the people that I talk to on a daily, weekly basis have already done, right? This challenge, if you come to this challenge, you're going to learn a lot about what you have not been doing. That's going to give you insight into what I would suggest that you start doing. Huge, huge opportunity for you to learn some cool stuff. Have you read Dr. Sarno's book, Healing Back Pain? Of course I have. Where's it at? I can't reach it. I can't reach it. It's up there. I'm going to move this camera. Ready? That one right there. I've read just about every book there is on back pain, and I've read that book. It's good. TMS, maybe it's tensomyositis syndrome. I think the T is myositis syndrome, I think. But basically trauma, emotion type of stuff, rage, inner rage. There's value in that. Trauma. I don't do trauma therapy. That's not my specialty. You don't need to do that. I've never done trauma therapy with anybody that I've worked with, and I've worked with some insane people, kept them off the operating table, high level people who you would think would have a lot of trauma, but they don't, or they don't need that type of work. So I get it, and I respect John Sarno's position. It's a good book. You should read it, but it's not everything. I just found you. I'm in the same boat in spasm as we speak. Yeah, I just got off the phone call with somebody who is literally having spasms. And this is the thing, because ultimately there is hope for people like you, right? Like there's hope for people who have herniations, bulges, sciatica. It's crazy to think that how much hope there is, because I've lived with chronic back pain for so long. I know what it's like to feel hopeless, right? But you know what the hardest thing to convince people that are living in pain? As someone who teaches people, I coach people one-on-one and to the masses how to overcome chronic pain. The biggest obstacle that I have is you. Like, you are the biggest obstacle, because we have been brainwashed. And I'm speaking to myself because I was this person for years. We have been brainwashed to think about our pain in one way. What does insurance cover? What does the doctor say? Who's the best chiro? Who's the best physio? Who's the best PT? What's the best internet website? What's the best? And we just gather so much information, but it's all saying the same stuff. And then we do it and we don't get results. And then we kind of get like stuck doing the same thing, expecting different results. So I know how hopeless you feel, but I want to encourage you. It may not be with me, but if you're ever given an opportunity to get help and it sounds different than what you've been doing, it smells different than what you've been doing, and it tastes different than what you've been doing, odds are it's going to be different. And that's where you have to invest your time, energy, and money into. Okay? That's my word of advice. Because if you go, yeah, we're going to do some stretches on you. We're going to get that core strengthened up. We're going to build that mobility in your low back. No, it's the same old stuff you've probably already done. You got to do something different. If what you're doing, if you can't answer this question, how is this strategy going to teach me safety, calm my pain system down, build confidence, and stop my avoiding of movement, my protection mechanism of fear around moving, bending, twisting, and experiencing symptoms? If what I'm doing is not helping me overcome that, it'll never work. The stretch, the exercise, the core training, doesn't matter how awesome or how many accolades your PT has. If all they're doing is exercises, stretches, injections, massages, e-stem, heat, ice, medication, surgery, inject, whatever, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Okay. So tune your ears for it to sound different. That's it. Awesome. Have an awesome day, guys. Remember, tickets, you can grab your ticket at fitnesswrapping.com/pain reset. I'll be doing more lives this week. I'm going to try to do one maybe tomorrow. I'm going to do a live. Got another topic that I can just dive into on. I can do this all day. So let me know if you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, if you have any follow-up things you want to hear about, then drop them in the comment. I'm located in Florida, by the way. Any other questions you have, shoot them my way. Talk soon.